Hey, Travis, good to talk to you. Hope you're doing well. Just your overall thoughts on how the group looked on the first day of camp.
One second, Travis. We're just trying to unmute your line. Apologies about that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was happy, Batch. I thought the group looked sharp today. That wasn't an easy practice, and we've ran a very similar practice before like that. I felt what the players, it was harder for them the last time we ran it, so that was a good sign.
In terms of the way you build this training camp as opposed to one that you would have at the start of a season, obviously this one's a little bit longer. How different do you expect the totality of the camp to be as opposed to what we might have seen in September?
Well, it's going to be different. Different circumstances, different conditions. There's no exhibition games that you're prepping for, so we're going to try to sub in the best we can to get our team ready for that first exhibition game that we play, and obviously game one. But it will be a little bit different, and we've talked a lot about it as a staff and as an organization with our strength coaches, medical staff, about how hard we need to push and want to push and make sure that they're aligned.
Normally you would tell us not to read too much into the lines at camp, but as you allude to, with just the one exhibition game and not as much time as you might like to prepare for the playoffs, is there more a focus on getting guys ready to be right into game action than maybe you would be, where you have a chance to play around with chemistry and things like that at a normal camp?
Well, part of a normal training camp is you can't play your team every night, so you do have different lines all the time. We know this group. I think we have a good idea on part of our lineup, what it'll look like. And, there's also a reason why we're here to see how everyone looks. I know there's still 3 weeks before we play that first game, but, it's going to go by fast. And, within 2 weeks, we need to see who's at their best and who's ready to play the first game.
Last one for me, Cole Lind not on the ice with the second group right now. Can you provide any context as to why he's not on the ice?
He'll be out. He didn't get into town right away, so he's not on today. Possibility he'll be out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, we have Jeff Patterson.
Travis, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, thanks. Obviously, nothing is as it was. So I just wondering, the hour leading up to that first group today and your meetings with players, how normal did it feel to have a practice on July 13th?
Yeah, it's not normal. Part of our meeting today, we addressed a few things in the meeting today, and part of it was the new norm. What is the new normal? Things are different. Obviously with COVID, the time of year, how we live our lives. There's so many different things. And, when we get playing, no fans, if there's one bonus, we get to do media this way, which is always a little bit easier. That was a joke. And we've got to be fluid. We used words today with our group, where they've got to be focused. They've got to be adaptable. We want players, we don't want to lose focus when things change, and things are going to change. You're going to have to be adaptable, but you got to be excited and embrace it. It's also an exciting time. And, this feels like your life's been put on hold for quite a while here. And you could feel it. I could feel it, even in myself, being excited to come to the rink and get going. And, I could really tell with our players, they were excited to be back. And even though things are a little bit different, I think I was worried probably a little bit. You wonder how your group will be, but I could feel it within the room and see it on the ice, the excitement level within our group.
you and Batch asked you a little bit about the fact that, just the one exhibition game. So, at what point do you incorporate scrimmage, and how important will scrimmages be in these practice sessions to replicate some sense of game action?
Oh, for sure. I've been a big believer in scrimmaging in training camp anyway. I think it's going to be important now. We plan on playing scrimmaging quite a bit, even having full games at some point. We'll probably see our first scrimmage action tomorrow.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Thomas Strantz.
Hey, Travis, as I unhook my mask, I'm curious, have you run a team meeting yet with a mask, and did you find it challenging?
Ran a meeting, social distance. I wore the mask in and took the mask off just to talk to the team. And, it's different. So, but worry about the things that we can control and not the things that we can't, things we talked about with our group.
And Travis, just to dig in on some line combo stuff, because I really missed it. Opening line rushes, you've got Myers with Edler. When last we saw your club, you would take rushes typically with Myers and Fantenberg. What do you like about a pair that obviously played a ton together early in the year last season or this season? And sort of, is there anything, what's some of the thought process behind uniting them at the outset here?
I felt like they played well when they were together at the beginning of last season. Again, it's day one. Things could change. Might change daily, might not. But I think it's well known that our parents we can put stats with Eddie too. And we'll see where it ends up at the end of the day. We've got a lot of time yet for that.
Additionally, Brock Besser, a hockey question on Brock. Playing him with Horvat. Now, you saw that one game this season when Brock returned from injury, but obviously you saw a ton of it during his rookie year. What do you like about how they complement each other historically and sort of in your mind's eye as you consider it?
I think it's it's probably, they're both good hockey players. So that's first and foremost. I like the way Petey and Foley and Millsy were playing. And again, I think it's just, if I'm going to put Toffoli with Petey and Millsy, then Brock's going to go with both. It's good to have two good right wingers or offensive guys like that.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Ian McIntyre.
Hey, Travis. I know you actually miss us being there in the room with you, and tomorrow we'll be able to ask you about Petey's ice time during the scrimmage. But
I'll clock it for you guys and have the stat sheet.
All right. For today, talking about Jacob, it's tough for everybody to get ready in a short time. I think it's fair to say that goaltenders probably need more preparation time, more reps anyways, than skaters do to get ready. How much do you see this as a challenge to get Jacob back to where he was in such a short time?
No challenging than it is for any other team. So we're all on the same playing field when it comes to goaltending and getting them ready without game. Part of the reason of scrimmaging is to get your whole team ready, but also goaltenders will benefit from that. It's one thing to see a puck that's scripted in a drill, another thing to see it in a game like a scenario where it's coming through traffic or quicker plays and more plays that are unpredictable. And that'll be important for our goaltending for sure.
And I know typically you don't like to talk individuals, but you also told me recently that you've spent a lot of time with Jacob, going back to the American Hockey League and how fond you are of him. What do you think this opportunity means to him at age 30 after what he's been through to finally have a chance to play some playoff games?
Again, like you said, I've talked a lot about Jacob over the years. I've been with him quite a bit. Guy loves to win, loves to compete, and players like that, they can't wait for the playoffs. So we've been talking about getting to the playoffs and playing these type of games for a long time. So it's not only him that it's important to, but he does love this part of the year and big games. So I know he's excited to play for sure.
And if I can ask you one last one, I know that you're familiar with our market and you have experience and are able to kind of ride through different emotions that come with playing here. Mm-hmm. What did you think about the stories that the team was trying to trade Brock, and this is on the eve of a training camp for a playoff, and how that might affect a 23-year-old?
Yeah, I spoke to Brock this morning about it. I'm sure it'd be hard pressed not to affect anyone, especially in a time like this, and so many question marks up in the air about us playing and training camp and getting ready to win. But I also know you guys spoke to Jim about it. You spoke to Brock about it. There really shouldn't be any need for anyone to make a comment about it at this point of the year, in my opinion, when there's no trade deadline or anything like that. And we got a good young player that's going to be a good player in the league for a long time. And he really shouldn't have to worry about those kind of things at this time of the year.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you. We'll move on to Ben Kuzma.
Hey, Travis, just a quick follow on what Max said there about Brock. When I talked to him earlier this summer, he admitted that going through a 12-game goal drought was really hard on him, and he kept referencing his confidence level. And he said that you had even spoken to him. Where do you think Brock is at in terms of maybe putting too much pressure on him to perform, and sometimes you just got to go out and play?
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
He looks great. If I had to pick one guy that I was not surprised, but happy with it, he looks really good. I definitely don't think he's worrying about confidence right now, or a 12-game goal drought that I can't remember when it was when you're talking about. And again, all he needs to worry about is being back, playing, having fun. He worked hard this summer. He looks good on the ice, and just be excited to play and help our team win. And that's the only thing this young player needs to worry about.
A quick follow-up for me, Travis. You mentioned to me recently that Michael Furlan could be a interesting and intriguing player per se at camp. We know he's unfit to play, and Jim said earlier that he expects him back relatively soon. If he does get back and can show you some stuff, just speak a little bit to that intriguing part of a guy that might be a guy who could help you in a postseason in a series like Minis.
Well, I think when we originally signed Furley, a big part of it was for games like this, times of the year like this, playoff hockey. He's one of those guys that can make a difference in ways other than just scoring, even though he can do that as well. He's an aggressive player that hits hard and hits fair. And I think the physical part of the playoffs, physical part of the game does increase in playoff hockey. And hopefully he's back soon.
One last thing for me, and I know I speak for all the media, Travis, when we're working from home and we're 3 or 4 steps away from the refrigerator, how did you lose the weight? We hear you've lost weight.
Yeah, it's not a comical amount, I can tell you that. I think it was just more just getting into a routine. I think sometimes when you're coaching, you get, or for me personally, I get so fixated on coaching and thinking about it that I get up in the morning and I coach till I go to bed at times. So just finding time, personal time for yourself, and trying to get into a routine and get some fitness in and eating a little better, maybe not as many late night snacks as you have during the season.
So it's not Baumgartner leading you astray on the road for those massive meals?
I'm going to blame Manny.
Okay. Thanks, Travis.
He eats well.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll go to Jay Janauer.
Travis, how much weight have you dropped?
Not sure exactly. 10, 15, 20, I don't know. Just a number, right?
Hey, when we talked to Jim, he talked about structure, how important that's going to become playoff time. Is that the greatest concern, Travis, going into a tournament style like this, is trying to get your team's identity back and and playing the way that you'd like them to be? And is it something that you'll be able to achieve and need to have success in this short formatted tournament?
Well, I think the biggest concern, first and foremost, is just getting your team up and running and playing to the highest pace that they can. And along the way with that pace, being able to compete and get into puck battles is going to be a big part of playoff hockey, and obviously the structure. There's a lot that goes into it. Structure is a big part of it. Unlike any other team, though, you don't have new players coming back, so your team structure it's not like you're rewriting the book, but we are focusing on certain parts of our game that maybe we want to see improvements in, and still yet not at the risk of some of our strengths. So structure is part of it, but also getting your team to a place where the pace is high enough to play and compete at.
Travis, how much did you look at your team defensively? And I'm asking because I think after February 1st, I think you guys were 30th in terms of goals against. I would assume you've looked at a lot of tape and broken that down. Is that an area of concern for you, tightening that up heading into the playoffs?
I don't think we're 30th in goals against in the league, but we studied every part of our game over the last 4 months, and we didn't just dwell on our weaknesses. We studied all of it. We want to continue to get better in the areas of strength, and we know that there are certain areas within our game that I think we can improve in. And defensively, you can talk about D-zone coverage all you want, but there's a lot of things that go into D-zone coverage, and some of it starts in the other end of the rink. Your whole game is connected in some form, and we'll address that with our team throughout training camp, and even today we talked about one little tweak, and I could see the guys thinking about it in one of the drills that we did, so it was good to see.
If we were having a playoff conversation in April, I'm sure we'd be talking about playoff experience and how much it means to have veteran players, and I know you have a few of them, but because it's just the total unknown heading into August, do you think it's different, Travis, in terms of the fact that you've got a young team, and when you look at youth and guys who are going to be ready to go out of the gate, you've got it. Is it different this time around than maybe playoff years in the past?
Yeah. I mean, it could be. No one knows. There's one side that when you've got the experience, you're probably saying that you hope your experience helps. And when you don't have the experience that maybe the other team has, you're saying that you hope the youth helps. So it's good thinking, it's good talking about, but you don't know until you get out there and play. And our guys are excited to play. They want to play, and that's for me what you want out of your group. And we'll find out.
Travis, do you know who your exhibition game is against and when?
No.
Thank you.